So get everything set up. And I've been doing this all year at this point, every other weekend ish. And it's like, I even had my starter image for this one. And then I have go live was set, remembering to do things in the right order. It's challenging. So anyway, I'm like, okay, that's on there. That says I'm live. And then I just have to change the scene over here in OBS. The microphone will be part of that. It's one of the sources in that scene because this wasn't on the other one. But I'm still really quiet just in case it picks up because somebody was saying that it picks up, and I don't know. And I click it, I'm like, okay, this should be right. So far, it's right, but I am stretching past my comfort zone this week. So I have 4 different scenes that I'm going to be using for this. I think that's the most I've ever used. And I just reset all of them actually, because then when I change back to this one, all of a sudden, the camera's not picking up. Why? It was 5 minutes ago, but no, it's not. So, this is going to be something of an adventure, and I am learning, and learning is a good thing. And I am also taking intellectual risks and risks with my skill, and I'm building skill, and if it doesn't work out, that's okay. That's part of the learning process, right? Right. So let's get to it. All right. Okay. So one of the things I did is I moved things around over here on the Saturday 6 because it's a slide file in Google Slides, and it started looking really blurry. So I had been working with capturing the thumbnail because I had more luck with that, because when I'm in the main panel, like, it likes to highlight it and then delete stuff. And if I'm in the thumbnail, it can't do that. But it was really blurry because the thumbnail is small. So it's like I said, learning process. So here we go. So number 1, space dress. There are 2 companies that I've in the last couple of years ordered some dresses from, and the one was Princess Awesome, which was where I got my dinosaur dress and my library dress, and I love both of those. But I also probably, honestly, thanks to Facebook advertising, I found another company called Svaha that, and I have no idea if I'm saying that right, but they do dresses, and I think it's all dresses, but they may have like pants and stuff too. But it's business that is geared towards women's clothing, but they focus on patterns that are science, technology, engineering, and mathematics based. So they're STEM dresses. And I got one that is a space dress. And I also got one that is like an explorer's map. But so I wore the space dress last week, and it was lots of fun. And I have a picture of it. It looks like, click, this. This is not me in the dress. This is the model. I don't think I got a picture. And I actually, because I meant to wear it tonight, and then today was community day, so I went outside to catch Pokemon, and it was cold, so I wore a sweatshirt. And then I came home and I started setting things up, and I pulled my hair back, and I actually ran a comb through it and stuff like that. And I put my glasses on, and I made sure I had some mascara on so that you can see my eyes and stuff like that. And this is for posterity, and people are judgy about women's looks. So yeah, so I brushed my hair and stuff, and then I was like, oh, I'm gonna wear the space dress. I'm like, I've got like 15 minutes to the show. Meh, I don't feel like it. So you don't get to see me in the space dress. But it actually works better because I was thinking about this. The dress is twirly, which is one of the things I really like about it. It's so much fun. And I was thinking about, showing you a twirl dress, and that might actually be a little dangerous because this is not a big room. and the desk takes up probably a good third of the width of the room. So I would probably bump into something and or knock something over and or fall. So this resolves all that. So yeah, that was it. When you order things online, you're never sure how it's going to work, but it's got the material has a lovely heft to it. So when you spin, it floats out. It flows really nicely, and it's comfy too, and it has pockets. So yeah, nice deep pockets, and it's super comfy. So now I go back to the scene. That worked, you guys. It worked. Hooray! All right, so the space dress. Next. What's next? Let's find out. I don't remember what I have for number 2. I remember the stuff, but okay. So, some of the elections, important ones, I guess every election is important, but some of the closer elections have not finished their vote counting, and that can be really frustrating. But for one thing, I tell myself that this is an opportunity to practice patience, and goodness knows that is something that I clearly need more practice with because I suck at it. I suck at being patient. It is what it is. I'm a wonderful person. I suck at being patient. But more significantly, it's really important that we make sure that our poll workers have, or not, I don't know if it's the poll workers, whoever's supposed to do the job, who's ever supposed to count the votes. Excuse me, I'm getting a cough drop here. I'm a little itchy down there. That they make sure that they take the time needed to do a good job, that they count every vote. And it's also important for us to remember that every vote, this is a way of honoring that and showing that every vote does count, that every vote matters, and that, so it's about reframing something that seems that is inconvenient, but that is more than worth the inconvenience. When I take a step back and hey, Black Cover, the Chaniversary is actually next for not quite a week from tonight. It'll be next Friday. So this is just my regular Saturday 6. But thank you for coming anyway. When I can step back from the but I want to know. I can appreciate, and it makes me feel good that they are doing what they need to make sure that they do it right, and that everybody's vote gets counted. So I like that, and that really helped me because, like I said, I'm not good at being patient. I hate waiting. Exactly, Scott. Yeah, every legal vote should be counted, and there shouldn't really be any, no fraud, bad, and also, like, it should be clear. Sometimes, like, if you move, or if, especially, if somebody was released from prison and now they have the right to vote, but they, don't go through the right form. Sometimes people can get in trouble for that when it's in good faith, but they just don't do things the right way. I don't like that. Yeah. So sometimes that's just how it is. A lesson from loss. Now by loss, nobody's died. Well, Kevin Conroy, but nobody personally close to me has died, so that's not it. But I voted for Marcus Flowers in the congressional race for Georgia's 14th district, and he didn't win. Marjorie Taylor Greene got reelected, and so I checked the next morning. Actually, they called it that night, but it was the next morning when I just sort of looked. I'm like, I wonder how he did. And I went and looked on Ballotpedia, but I also then went. I was like, you know what? I wonder how it's gone in previous elections. And so I've actually compiled a series of screenshots focusing in on the congressional races over the last about 10 years, 8 years, but it'll cover 10 years of congressional work. And it really shifted my perspective in a meaningful way. And I think if he hadn't lost, if some by some miracle he'd actually won, I don't think I would have been elated, but I don't think I would have gained I wouldn't have thought to look, and I wouldn't have gained the perspective that I have. And I hope that this will help me going forward. So let me go here. It works. So I don't know how well you can see this, but I'll discuss it. So the first, I don't have, you can't, I don't have a way to, okay, wait, we can do it this way. So my first, these are actually partial screenshots. So I think if I click this, yeah, you can see. So this first one is from all the way back in 2014, almost a decade ago. And Tom Graves, I remember him. He won an uncontested general election. He'd been our representative for some time at that point. And uncontested. Nobody ran against him. And then in my second one from 2016, that one you can see many more votes because that was a presidential year, so more people turned out to vote. And notice he's the only one listed that has like the bar by him, but the text there says that he defeated Patrick Boggs as a write-in. So at that point, somebody ran against him, and but he didn't get enough votes to like be on the ballot or for them to count a percentage of him. He didn't get enough votes to be counted as a percentage, and he wasn't actually on the ballot. But his name's there, and that's not nothing. It's it's about as close as you can get, but it's not nothing. It's something. And so then if we look down at this one in 2018, which isn't all that long ago, the Democrats in Walker County, in Georgia 14, I apologize, not just Walker County, I'm just thinking of Walker County because that's the group that I work with is the Walker County Democrats. And the Georgia 14 Democrats, North Georgia Democrats got somebody on the ballot. I mean, that's something. Doesn't have a picture, and he got 23.5% of the vote in an off year, so hopefully they worked really, really hard and, talked to everybody they could think of to, get him to mobilize that vote. But yeah, they're moving forward. And then not just this past week, but in the previous election, in 2020, I remember Kevin Van Alstall was running, and I heard him speak a couple of times, and his family was targeted, and it really created some problems for him, and he withdrew from the race unofficially, and a lot of people still voted for him. And you can see he got 25.3% of the vote, and also the number of votes also went up from almost 54,000 to almost 78,000. So not just the percentage, but actually, the raw numbers of voters who choose him, it's going up. And then this most recent election, we have this one. Marcus Flowers, 33.6% of the vote, which is a huge jump. Some of that is because not as many people came out because we're in a midterm, but almost 85,000 votes. And so again, we're seeing that we are making progress. And the downside is, if you look at those numbers, it tells you that it's going to continue to be slow. But it's all interconnected. As more people begin to see what, that we're not alone, and become involved in their communities and are more comfortable sharing more progressive views and connecting with others and saying that. Actually just today, so I'm wearing my sign language Black Lives Matter sweatshirt, And somebody said, "Oh, that's a cool sweatshirt. What does it say?" And I answered, but I felt tension. I could feel my anxiety acting up just a little bit because I didn't know what the response would be. And they said, "Oh," and conversation went on. And I'm like, still not sure what the reaction is, but I mean, it wasn't immediately hostile, which I didn't expect, but it was like, you know, I guess the anxiety comes from there's a hope that there will be a connection and a concern that somebody will reject a message that I think is vital. So it's not just it's not fear for myself because I could have taken her, but more that you know I some of these things that I think are important, these values, um, when they're not shared, that kind of sucks. Yeah. Well, and I mean, Wolfie, these sorts of issues, how we interact with each other, how our societies are run, the principles affect everybody. We all have to deal with these sorts of things. How we get along together. In that sense, it applies to all of us. So I think that even if you're not dealing with this particular thing, and especially even if you are in the United States, um, there's going into the elections, even going into the primaries, people are saying why bother donating to him? He's not going to win. Why bother? And it's because it's not just about winning. It's also about, building, connecting with potential voters, people who feel so disengaged and isolated. And all of that is things those are concepts that, wherever we're at, whatever our political situation, whatever our life situation, we have some connection to. Yeah. Scott, uh that's the thing. All right, so back here. I didn't. I gotta keep it interesting. But now I'm on the right thing. All right, so that was my lesson from loss. All right, the next one is just it's something that I've heard about uh on a kind of regular basis recently, um, and I actually passed over it for several of my previous live streams because I was just like, whatever. But it's actually been reported, on several different sites where I'm looking for, just news across the nation. I'm like, okay, this seems to be catching on in different regions, and it's still going on. Now, chances are good this won't continue throughout the entire school year because the weather. And that's another thing I'm curious about it. Well, let me explain what this is. So, bike buses. This is where a community gets together and like parents and other adults in the community get together and chaperone kids on their bikes, everybody riding to school on their bikes together. And then presumably, the adults show up on their bikes at the end of the school day, and the kids get on their bikes, and everybody rides home. And the kids get, drop off at different yards. And so it's a great opportunity for physical activity, for connecting, again, kind of like I said just in the previous one, connecting with other members of your community, having fun together. Um, Good for the environment, and just really for me it's really about that connection. I just think that's so important. The one the one issue that I have with it is they miss a huge opportunity. Clearly this should have been called bike pooling. I mean, come on, right? Anyway, so yeah, I don't think it'll be like every day. I'm very curious what happens when they have like really rotten weather. Like, I mean, it got cold today, not freezing down here, not close. We were still, I think it dipped into the 40s, but it was in the 50s for most of the day. Um, but like if it's cold and rainy just for one day out of the week, do the parents all like drive their kids to school? Do they just pick them? So I'm curious about that. And then I'm wondering what'll happen, during the winter when it's kind of rainy and glucky and might be snowing in some of these communities. So it's definitely an interesting idea. And again, I'm all for community. And going back to the whole election thing, I think that election day should not be a national holiday because we all know that getting the day off privileges some workers and not others. And the workers who get the day off are typically the ones who would have had the opportunity to leave work to go vote anyway. So I'm not really keen on that. But what I do think it should be a day where communities are encouraged to have festivals and around their polling stations. You know, have like popcorn machines, kettle corn. Oh my goodness, there was kettle corn and at the at this arts festival that I went to today, and it smelled so good. But I ended up not getting the kettle corn, but an empanada, and that was so good. Like have like food trucks and ice cream vans and those big balloon things that kids can play in and have some poll work not poll workers maybe obviously they're not there but like volunteers chaperoning that so that parents can go vote and their kids can play on the little bouncy things. I think that would just be so awesome. And just have it be a community day. And yeah, that's would be so much more a celebration. That would be so much more awesome than just having the day off. I mean, really making it a special day. That would be um well, Scott, presumably not crazy far. The most of the ones that I saw were talking about elementary school kids. So you gotta some of those little legs they get tired, but so not crazy far, but also it's gonna depend on like they're gonna pick up different kids as they go along and then drop them off as they go. So it's gonna depend on how close you live to the school. So it varies. Um, whoo, Scott, that's cold. That's below freezing. All right, so next. This was so exciting. And it turned out so well. I was nervous about it too. So, my best friend teaches at Middle Tennessee State. And this semester, for I think the first time, one of her classes was a group of prospective teachers. And so, I think she was teaching writing and grammar for, for educators. So, some of it is also focused on how we teach these concepts and how we reinforce them, things like that. And so I was like, "Oh man, I would love to talk to your class and see like sort of what it's like because it's been a long time since I was in college. What their teacher preparation blah blah, what their teacher preparation programs are like, and what uh why they decided to come into teaching, what their concerns are." And she's like, "Yeah," and then like you could share with them like your advice for new teachers. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm kind of a veteran teacher now. I'm almost 20 years in. That's a long time." And so I actually went back and I found they had just written their, I need to ask her about that. They had just written their philosophy of education statements. So I would really like to look at those if they'd be willing to share them with me. And so I actually went and I found the philosophy of education statement that I wrote all the way back when I was in college, which now is more than 20 years ago. Um, yeah, so and looked it was so interesting to read over that and just like I could just it sounds like me. And it was really interesting to go back into to sort of visit my old self. That was really cool. And because of some of the things that I've been doing, um I've been starting to think about maybe taking on some adjunct work, um, just to try something out, to stretch myself professionally. And so I had recently redone my CV and I'd rewritten my philosophy of ed. And so looking at those two and kind of looking at not, not a lot has changed, honestly, but some of my priorities have shifted and kind of changed order somewhat. Um, some things that I thought were important, now I know they are. It's like I can see the importance of this when I look at how my students respond in class and how they make progress and when they come back to me and talk to me years later. So it was really validating for me. And so then I actually put both of those in a single document, made it a PDF and sent it off to her. And I got to talk to these students and share with them for like an hour and a half. It was really, really nice. They had great questions, um, really high expectations. They're like, with lesson planning and grading and contacting families and filling out paperwork and classroom management. How do you do it all? And I'm like, the answer is you don't. And so I talked about, kind of like I said, I think last Saturday 6, the importance of setting priorities is not just so that you know what order to do things in. The reason you do things in a certain order is when you get to you get to the point where you run out of time. Whatever's below that ain't getting done. So that's what you have to let go of that. Because if you don't, you're going to put yourself through the sausage grinder. You're going to not just burn out, but you're going to flame out. So prioritization is not just about doing the most important thing first because it's most important, therefore it should be done first. It's about you don't know when you're gonna hit that mark. I guess somebody's going somewhere because I just heard a horn. I don't know. What would you now tell that? So I think I've got a video on this. I think the first thing that you should do, if you're as a prospective teacher, is start building your support network. Not professional support network, yes, but I'm talking about the people who will take care of you when you have gotten to the point where you can't take care of yourself. Either you've gotten really sick or you've just had a really awful day and you're face planting and you can't even think about dinner. Somebody who will call up and have DoorDash, dinner delivered to you. Or who can come over and make dinner for you and make sure that you eat and you get tucked into, brush your teeth and get tucked into bed. Who can you call when you are sitting in your car in the parking lot at 7:20 in the morning and you're supposed to be signed in and in your room at 7:30 and you just don't know if you can do it? You don't know if you can teach today or at all ever again. Who are you going to call who will listen to you and tell you that it's okay to feel that way and that they love you no matter what? Who are those people who will be there for you no matter what? That is the first thing you need to do. That's what's most important. You've got to have that. Everybody should have that, even if you're not going to be a teacher. It's those people. If you can have those people in your life, it's really nice. It's really nice to have that in your life. And then so that was first. And the second, again, sort of sort your priorities. Know yourself and what you value. Where's the line at which what are you going to put first because it matters the most? And why do you think that matters the most? You've got to know that. Because that's going to shape everything else. It's going to shape the way that you teach. It's going to shape what you're willing to let go of. So I think those were my top two, because somebody asked me my number one thing and I'm like, no, I got to give you two. your support network and learn to prioritize, and involved in prioritization. Remember that part of that involves being ready to let go. Be gentle with yourself and with your students. It's hard. It's hard for us. And it's hard for them too. Not all the time. It won't all the time be hard for us. Some days are just like, you feel like a hecking rock star. I had one of those days yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Yeah. Where I was covering a class and the note from the teacher said, "This class is usually horrible. Don't be afraid to call administration." I was like, And they definitely tested boundaries. But when I reinforced those boundaries kindly, compassionately, they accepted that. And I felt really good. So yes, some days will be great, but there'll be other days that are not great. And knowing what is most important to you and having somebody who can help you, that's going to be what gets you through it. And also, feel free to message me if you have any questions or anything. That was the other thing I said to him. So, number 6. So yeah, that went really well. Uh-oh. Dang it, I knew that. What the? I can't win, you guys. I just can't. scrolling. Do no. Your evening, afternoon, morning, whatever time it is, nightly entertainment. Okay. 6. Next week is Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week. And I'll also have the Bike Bus article down, link one of them linked down in the description, and I'll also have 2 sources that talk about programs that that can help for hunger and homelessness. Of course, with Thanksgiving in America coming up, there are a lot of community organizations that will offer a free meal on Thanksgiving Day. The thing is, people need to eat more than just one meal a year. So, but one of the articles that I'm linking is great, and the whole website itself is really great about this. More than just this, it's not just about this one free meal in terms of the organization. It's also about connecting with the sensibility that people have, that people are more open to during this time of year. And I forgot to grab the thing. Hang on. So I don't have a digital Dumaflagi for these. But so in terms of organization and talking to people about, well, why is this an important issue for you? Why do you care about this? And listening. I know, Steve, right? So this talks about, I think, Housing First. The website that I'm going to give is Housing First. And it's a program that, like, instead of requiring people who need housing assistance to either have a job or be in the process of going through education in order to get a job, be sober and drug-free. There are a number of you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. And when you don't have a safe place to live, doing all that other stuff is like extra difficult. So because you don't have a safe place to live, you can't do it makes it harder to do these things, which makes it harder to get a safe place to live. So it creates this, cycle that helps you not get out of the situation that you're in. What Housing First does is says, okay, here's your safe place to live. And then we will also help you with resources for sobriety and drug and alcohol awareness and support systems and education and job searches and things like that. Because one of the things that I told the class back on when I met with them is that students want to be successful. All of them. Success usually doesn't look the same for every student, but they all want to be successful. Nobody wants to be ashamed of themselves. Nobody wants to be looked down on by the people that they care about. No. Nobody wants to put effort into something and have it not work out. No, that is not what we want. So, yeah, exactly. When you feel sticky and you smell and your clothes, are wrinkled in just it affects you. You can work at it despite that. I almost said you can tell yourself it doesn't matter, but the truth is you can tell yourself it doesn't matter, and you really know that it does, because it does, okay? So, I'm preaching to the choir here, I'm sure. But, so, Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week is mostly about, again, it's about making those connections. And so I would really encourage you to think about what your community needs and what issues you care about the most. I've been thinking about that recently, and I'm thinking about how to help, and then so one of the things I decided was I went to the Y today and I exercised there. and they had an angel tree. So I picked two cards that I think, a boy and a girl, and that I think I can't afford a Nintendo Switch, guys, but I can I can afford board games, coloring books, Legos. This one requests WWF toys, and I think I might actually see if I can like contact a publicist and say, look, is there like a little short Merry Christmas video that you can send me a clip of, or can I have like a signed portrait that I can put in this kid's angel gift? And if I don't hear back from him, I don't hear back from him, which I might not, but I don't think that would be I think that would be pretty easy to do. And then I could also get the WWF toys on top of that. Of course, it is WWE now, right? I assume that's what they mean. They mean wrestling toys. It's a boy. And like Gel Blaster, football, they're like activity stuff. Nothing else on here says like dinosaurs and like, tigers and things like that. So I don't think it's the World Wildlife Fund. I'm pretty sure we're talking about wrestling. But of course, it's anonymous, so I don't really know. All right, so those are my 6 things. I do have a bonus thing that just happened yesterday on the way home from school. I stopped at Walmart to pick up some stuff, and on the way back out to the car, I happened across the professor who teaches the dual enrollment classes that I facilitate, and well, Steve, either the kid's a real fan or the kid's parent filled this out. And the kid said, I want wrestling toys. And the parent is like, I've got a limited amount of space. And it became WWF. So, I mean, there are multiple possibilities here. And, maybe it's something that, maybe it's something that they watch together. IDK. Anyway, so I ran into the professor and she said, yeah, I'm not going to be able to cover the class. I'll miss the first class on Monday because I have a meeting that I have to go to. And I said, okay, that's not a problem. I said, do you want to send me, the notes that you're going over and have me take that one? She said, oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. I'll send it to you. And I was like, yay. So I get to teach on Monday. I'm super stoked. So that was like a little extra bonus. Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing in the positivity. It's been kind of rainy and gloppy the last couple of days. I mean, honestly, Scott, who doesn't like pandas? So yeah, it's been rainy and gloppy the last couple of days. We did get some sunshine this afternoon, and I went out and spun Pokestops for Community Day and caught some shiny Teddiursas. So that was fun. But yeah, it's raining again. So, and it's supposed to be cold tomorrow, but that's okay. That's the way it goes. Yeah, Scott, they don't do Cameo for free, but I'm wondering if they have like, a little clip that, that's sort of like, the equivalent of like a print that's just that they could just send out. So I don't know. And thank you so much for supporting your local food pantry. Oh, Kane, I'm wrapping up here, my friend. But I'm so glad that you came in. And everybody, don't forget, I have a video going up, I think Tuesdays. My next one, I usually do Tuesdays and Saturdays now. But bonus video next Friday will be another live stream on which I celebrate my anniversary, and I will have some regionally themed prizes that I will randomly generate a number based on people coming in and participating. So I'm really excited, a little nervous about that, but it's been really interesting to look back over what I've done over the last couple of years and to think about sort of how it developed, new things that I tried out, things that I'm like, oh yeah, I was doing that, and I kind of haven't done one of those in a little while. and looking at what I want to accomplish and things like that, and then looking ahead into, the next year and seeing where it goes. So, Philip, I don't know about that. I mean, is there a perfect age when, the to get hooked on to Batman? Cuz I think I missed the animated series cuz I didn't have TV when I was growing up. And the first episode that I ever saw, I don't know, I don't know if was Robin on Batman the Animated Series, or was Robin only on The Adventures of Batman and Robin? Like, I don't know why they changed the name. It was basically the same thing. Anyway, the first one that I saw was Robin's Reckoning, which was not, I don't know. I feel like that was on the first one, but then I'm wondering about it. Um, but that was my senior year of high school, and I was I was so hooked. I was so hooked that I asked my mom to ask her friend to tape the second the to be continued episode, Robin's Reckoning Part 2. Because I was like, I gotta know. I gotta know what happens. I mean, Robin left. Okay, I thought so. It made sense, but I was like, wait, the other one was The Adventures of Batman and Robin. So it would make more sense if Robin was in that one, which he was, but yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's such they're so great, and they're just the right amount of hokey. Like, even the bad ones, even the ones that are like, you know, the jokes are cheesy and the dialogue is stilted, and, the story is clunky. I still love it. I still love it so much. And I had biggest crush on Kevin Conroy when I was in college. Cause, like, oh man, that voice. That voice, and I mean, the man is not bad looking either. Let's just say. Well, Philip, there's like the animated Batman the animated series, and then before the new Batman Adventures, there was the Adventures of Batman and Robin, which, again, that's the one where I don't really know why they changed the name of it, because it was like the same thing. The new Batman Adventures did make some changes. You can also see a change, a shift slightly. Um, the animation style is more stylized. So yeah, and I also had a crush on Dick Grayson, not the actor, just the character. Ah, yeah. So, and if you're watching this and seen uh you haven't seen the Adventures of Batman and Robin, or the Batman the Animated Series, yeah, find that, watch the show. It's great. Yeah, Steve, I know it was with the title change. That was my point. Why did they change the title? I don't know. Might have been because I think that might have been when they changed networks too. Anyhow, at 17, the show was the right amount of not scary per se. Um Exciting, intense, interesting. Yeah, it was awesome. All right, so I'm gonna wrap up and start getting things together, and I'm kind of tired. It's been a long day. So yeah, between exercising at the YMCA and then going out for a walk later, I've been really active. I need to go to bed. Yes, Gargoyles, also a cool. Yeah, we I mean, Gen X, we really lucked out with our television. I guess that's millennial television as well. Yeah, I think I was supposed to be too old, but it was my show, y'all. It was my show. Okay, thanks so much for stopping in, and remember, don't forget to look for joy. If you are actively looking for it, remember that I want to hear about the good things that you have been experiencing. So look for joy in your life, in the world around you, and share that with me next time. Bye, everybody.